Today we're going to talk about another kind of appeal to authority that we call a supporter. We're going to define what supporters are, give a couple of examples of good supporter arguments, and then talk about some bad supporter arguments, some supporter fallacies. So first, what are supporters? Well, supporters are arguments that begin with premises about a particular person who's making a point, and they end with a conclusion to the effect that the person's reasons for their point are especially compelling, especially good reasons. Maybe the reasons are likely to be true, or maybe they're especially likely to support the conclusion, but in whatever way, they're especially good reasons. Okay, now sometimes supporter arguments are good arguments. Let me give a couple of examples. So suppose I argue as follows. Premise 1, Warren Buffett has argued that confidence in the dollar will rise and therefore the price of gold will soon fall. Premise 2, when Warren Buffett speaks, investors listen and believe. Therefore, conclusion, confidence in the dollar will probably rise. Right? So the reason that Warren Buffett gave in support of his conclusion that the price of gold will fall, namely that confidence in the dollar will rise, that reason is especially likely to be true. Why is it especially likely to be true? Well, I'm saying it's especially likely to be true because Warren Buffett said it was especially likely to be true. And when Warren Buffett says it, that makes it true because investors listen to what he says and they believe in him. And if investors all believe that other people are going to be confident in the dollar, then investors will all be confident in the dollar. Okay, so there's an example of a supporter argument. I start off with premises about a particular person. In this case, Warren Buffett. I start off with a premise to the effect that he's listened to by investors. Investors believe what he says. And I end up with a conclusion that the reason Warren Buffett gives in support of his conclusion that the price of gold will fall, that reason is an especially good reason. In this case, it's especially likely to be true that confidence in the dollar will rise. So there's an example of a supporter argument that's a good argument. Here's another example. Premise 1. Isaac Mizrahi says that given how constricted pants have become in recent fashion, many people will now want to bring back bell-bottom pants. Premise 2. Isaac Mizrahi is one of the trendsetters in the fashion industry. That's what I gather from Googling things on the internet, but maybe one of you knows better. Conclusion, it's true that many people will experience today's pants as constricting and come to see bell-bottom pants as trendy. Okay, now that's a supporter argument. It starts off by stating a premise about Isaac Mizrahi and the central place that he occupies in today's fashion industry. And it ends up with a conclusion to the effect that the reason Isaac Mizrahi gives for his conclusion that bell-bottom pants are soon coming back, the reason that he gives is a reason that's especially likely to be true. Why is it especially likely to be true that people are going to experience today's pants as constricting? Well, it's especially likely to be true because Isaac Mizrahi said it was true. And if Isaac Mizrahi says that people are going to experience pants as constricting, then that's going to make it more likely to be true because people who follow fashion feel about clothes roughly the way Isaac Mizrahi says they should feel about clothes. And so if Isaac Mizrahi says that they're going to experience today's pants as constricting, then very likely they will experience today's pants as constricting. And so they will demand a return of bell-bottom pants. Okay, so there's another supporter argument. And once again, I think this supporter argument is a good argument. It's not a deductively sound argument, but it's a good argument. Okay, so there are some examples of good supporter arguments. It's a lot easier to find examples of bad supporter arguments, of supporter fallacies. We can see some of those right now.